Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. It is Beat Bama Week. It's Buck Fama Week. It's Bama Hate Week. Whatever you want to call it. We got a big opportunity coming up on Saturday. Tennessee currently sitting at 5-1. And I know where the Florida Gators are at. But let me tell you something, boys. The Gators are not going to make it through the month of October without another conference loss. Tennessee still has everything to play for. They go out and they take care of business. They're going to have an opportunity to get to Atlanta. Is that realistic? I don't know. The more I start to dig into this Tennessee-Alabama matchup, the more I see some things that I like. It's very intriguing. It's very interesting, almost similar to that matchup with Texas A&M. You start looking at the numbers. Alabama scoring 30.1 points per game. That's 58th in the country. You flip over and look at Tennessee, very close to that, 32.3 points per game. Flip over to the defensive side of the ball. Alabama giving up 16 points a game. Tennessee giving up 17 points a game. You can go down the numbers. Passing offense, passing defense, rushing defense. Very, very close. Tennessee has a big advantage, and that is running the football. This team leads the SEC in rushing yards per game. You look at the way they're impacting the game on the defensive line, getting after the quarterback. Fourth in the NCAA with 24 sacks. James Pierce is wrecking shop. There's one thing missing. There is one thing missing from this Tennessee football team, and that is a passing attack. Whether you want to blame Joe Milton, whether you want to blame the wide receivers, whether you want to blame the play calling, the bottom line is we got a problem throwing the football. So the question I ask you as we move through this season, starting this week, going on the road to play Alabama, can you go play them the way you did A&M? Can you have as many penalties as you had against A&M? Can you run the football, play good defense, and find a way to fight your way to victory? I want to hear from you guys, but we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the problem because it is Joe Milton versus the world. Before we do that, do me a favor. Smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you here. We are building a community of Tennessee fans. You want to be a part of it, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Going to be live tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We play NCAA 13 on the Xbox 360, but we talk all things Tennessee football, so come hang out for that. We'll be live Wednesday night at 7, Friday morning at 9:30, also Saturday before and after the game. But let's get into it. Let's talk about Joe Milton. And I understand, we're going to talk about the wide receivers too. We're going to talk about the play calling too. It is all part of the passing game for Josh Heupel's offense. But when you play quarterback at the University of Tennessee, you are held to a certain standard. You don't get a free pass. You don't get a point fingers. You are held to a standard, and I don't believe that Joe Milton is living up to that standard right now. Now, does that mean I'm a negavol or I'm a hater or I'm this or I'm that? No. It's calling a spade a spade. Joe Milton is not playing good football. I would love nothing more than Joe Milton to go out and cement his legacy by beating Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa. We'll talk about Jalen Hyatt in 2022. We'll talk about Joe Milton in 2023. I would love nothing more. But let's look at some numbers. Stats don't always tell the whole story, but let's look at some numbers. Right now, Joe Milton is 12th in the SEC in passing yards at 1,264. 12th. He's 10th in the SEC in completion percentage at 61.54%. He's 14th in the SEC in yards per passing attempt, under 7 yards per attempt. He's 11th in the SEC in QB rating. He is tied for third in the SEC in one category. That is interceptions he has thrown 4, and that's something that Joe has to clean up, right? He's got to clean it up. One thing we've always used to defend Joe is that he doesn't put the ball in harm's way. You look at his numbers from 2022. He threw 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So far through 2023, 10 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. This past week against Texas A&M, he struggled. 11 of 22, 100 yards, 4.5 yards per attempt. A touchdown and an interception. Situational awareness. When the broadcast team, when Gary Danielson is telling you that's a sophomore mistake, throwing the ball in the middle of the field, in the red zone, right to the safety, I don't care if he saw him or not. That's a sophomore mistake. We go back to the previous game against South Carolina, the interception there. He saw cover 2. They're in cover 3. Once again, the broadcast team is breaking down what's taking place on the field, and they're saying that a 6th-year senior doesn't recognize it. That's a problem. Situational Awareness. I go back to fall camp. I talked it to death. It was a huge red flag when coming out of fall camp. Josh Heupel mentioned situational awareness. We are having a problem with situational awareness. You have a sixth-year quarterback that has been in this system for 3 years. We should not be talking about situational awareness early in the game against A&M. They jump off sides, you have a free play. Throw the football down the field. Everybody that's been playing Madden football since they were 4 years old knows when you get a free play, you take a shot. That's why they call it a free play. There are no consequences there. Take that out the window. Throw that out the window. Let's talk about effort. Let's talk about effort. Same play, free play. Joe decides to roll it out and take off running. All you got to do is make contact. Be physical. You run out of bounds a yard short. Just a couple of drives later, 4th and 2, same thing, bad play call. They roll Joe out to the right, holds on to the ball forever, finally throws it at the last second, right to the Texas A&M defender, out of bounds. We as fans are irate. We as fans are upset. Go hit somebody. Be physical. Kaner brought up a good point this morning on the live stream. If you missed it, go back and watch that live stream this morning. Great conversation. Kaner stuck around for about 40 minutes talking about that Tennessee-Texas A&M game. We also looked ahead to Alabama. If you missed it, take time. Go watch it. Great show. Kaner says normally if that happens, you got 2 defenders there. He's going to get killed. He's not going to pick up the first down. The problem is the earlier drive when he could have picked up the first down but chose to avoid contact. Now let's call it like it is. Later in the second half, Joe Milton comes out and he starts to run the football physically and aggressively. And I liked what I saw. Joe Milton ended the day 8 carries for 34 yards. Now he also had a sack in there that took away some of that yardage. When he runs the ball physically and aggressively, Joe's a good runner. He's shown the speed against UTSA on the read option. He keeps it, house call. He's got speed. When he wants to play physical, when he wants to run physical, he is a weapon for this football team. I want to see that Joe. I want to see pissed off Joe. I want to see angry Joe Milton, because here's the bottom line. We can talk about Joe. We can say he's not playing good. He's not getting benched. Tennessee is 5-1. They've got everything to play for. He's a 6-year senior. Joe Milton is not getting benched. He's the guy. We want Joe Milton to succeed. I want Joe Milton to succeed. I want to see him play more physical. I want to see him pissed off. We talked about earlier in the year, what type of leader would Joe be? Hendon was a leader, man. He was a leader of men. Not only did he lead by example, but he knew how to lead that football team. They got behind him. Does Joe have that? He's laid back. He's loose. He likes to dance. He likes to laugh. He likes to have a good time. I asked the question early in the year, what would happen when adversity hits? How would Joe Milton respond? How would the team respond if he's laughing and dancing on the sideline and you're getting whipped by Florida? How would they respond to that? I want to see the Joe that we saw in the second half against Texas A&M when he looked like he was taking it personal. He looked like he was angry. That's the Joe Milton I want to see. Now, it's more than just Joe, right? It's easy to point out Joe, and again, it's fair. It's fair as a fan to point out the mistakes. It's fair. You're playing quarterback at the University of Tennessee. You're held to a higher standard. But it's more than Joe. Here's the quote from Josh Heupel talking about the interception in the red zone. He says, the decision, you just can't make that one. It was a critical error by him. Sometimes that happens at quarterback. We don't want it to happen anymore. He says a little bit of what's going on in the back end is some of just what the wide receivers is some scheme, all of us being on the same page. There's some efficiency there that's really good, and obviously it's not consistent enough from all of us across the board. Josh Heupel's always going to take ownership. He says from me to Joe to the wideouts to the tight ends to the offensive line, it has all got to be a piece of it. This wide receiver unit, interesting point brought up this morning on the live stream. Man, are we missing the guys from last year? And, I kind of thought about it. I'm like, maybe that's playing into it. Some of you guys have been talking about that in the chat, in the comments. Man, I guess it wasn't the scheme. I guess it was Jalen Hyatt. I guess it was these athletes that we had a year ago. Was it? Was it really? Outside of Jalen Hyatt, which he was a special player, man. He made some big-time plays in this offense. And obviously, a year ago, the Alabama game, we're going to remember that one forever. But outside of Jalen Hyatt, what did you lose? You lost Cedric Tillman. That had nothing to do with the number one scoring offense a year ago. Cedric Tillman goes down. Now you're without Brew McCoy, so we can have that conversation. But that has nothing to do with the players that were on this team. Last year, you've only been without Brew for a game and a half. But I do agree the wide receivers have to be better. We hear Josh Heupel talk about them not running the right route. They're not where they're supposed to be. That's a problem. The drop passes. We saw it, with Joe. I was ready to beat my head against the wall with the decision he was making. And then a couple of plays later, he's got Ramel Keaton wide open across the middle of the field. Nice soft touch. Ramel Keaton drops it. That's an easy touchdown. Everybody has got to help everybody. Everybody is to blame. The play calling, the coaching, the quarterback, the wide receivers, the tight ends, they're all to blame for our lack of success. But we have a problem. If we go down to Tuscaloosa and we're not able to throw the football, I like a lot of things about this matchup, a lot of things for Tennessee. I am concerned because it's on the road. This team has struggled on the road, but I like a lot about this matchup. But you're going to have to be able to go down to Tuscaloosa and throw the football. You guys jump into the comments. Let's talk about it. We've been talking about it for 48 hours, but this is the hot topic. Everybody wants to talk about Joe Milton. Everybody wants to talk about Nico. Everybody wants to talk about the wide receivers, so that's what we're going to talk about. Jump into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. As always, go check out the merch. You guys know where. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The links are all in the description below. Perfect time to go check out the Buck Fama merchandise. If you want something a little less offensive, you don't want to wear a shirt that says Buck Fama. We've also got merch that just says Beat Bama. Go check that out. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Shout out to all you members of the channel. Appreciate the way you guys support what we do around here. Whether you give $1 a month or you give more, you get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, fan call-in shows, different perks and benefits, but you are supporting what we are building here on this channel. One of my favorite emojis, put it in the chat after this video. The crying Saban emoji. Perfect time to play with that crying Saban emoji or the Josh Heupel cigar victory emoji. Both are good ones. But smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. That's quick, free, and easy. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk some Tennessee football because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.